Hello, everyone, and welcome to Weekly Manga Recap here on December the 27th of 2018. It's our last regular podcast of the year. How are you feeling about that, Chris?
Sad,
Mhm.
gassy, um, flamboyant.
All right.
I'm feeling a lot of things. It's a very
Sad and flamboyant.
and
Okay.
gassy.
Uh,
So I'm periodically just going to hurl glitter into the air, and
while belching
yeah,
and
listening to Post Malone songs. Exactly, all the things that I just described in a trinity. What about
I
you,
mean,
Nick?
I wouldn't know what Post Malone songs are, but I guess that would be associated with sad. So
They basically are all like, na 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 ba da 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 ba. No, it's too exciting. It's da 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 da. That's basically it.
mumbling. Okay.
Yeah, basically.
He looks like a guy who would mumble, so that doesn't surprise me.
How about you, Nick? How are you?
I'm all right. Um, I am also a little gassy though, if that makes you feel better.
That's our
Yeah.
link then.
So,
That's what we're gonna get us through this podcast together
yeah.
tonight. Is we're both gonna be gassy.
We'll have like a uniting fart between each series so that we make sure that our bond remains strong, our gaseous bond.
It'll be like our Wonder Twin powers. Like Wonder Twin powers activate, and then hold on, wait, I have to go over here, and then yeah, like we both fart, and then it'll be like, all right, time for Eden Zero.
Classy podcast only, guys.
Uh-huh.
So
It'll leave this new year just like we started.
pretty much. Let's read some manga, Chris.
Yeah, sure. Why not?
Why not? Why not? Um, let's just get into it. I
Do you think
think.
we're gonna have enough to read this week?
Considering that we are still covering all of the Jumpstart series and Boruto, yes. Yeah.
Okay, I wasn't sure if we'd have enough to cover.
Let's see, how many tabs do I have
only
open?
have 79 tabs. I think
I've got like a dozen tabs open right now of manga, so I think that we're good. All right, let's do it. My Hero Academia, Chris. It's chapter 211. That which is inherited is the chapter title. And we actually get an interesting little conversation that happens between Monoma and Shinso at the start of this chapter, which was happening prior to the point we left off last week with Midoriya trying to shoot one of them. And basically, Monoma gives a little bit of his own backstory, saying that, when he was a kid, people tell him, hey, there's no way you can be a hero with that quirk, his ability to copy other quirks, because he can't do anything on his own. And that's an interesting kind of link between him and Shinso. And because Monoma says, like, I like you, Shinso. You're like me. You needed to embrace your darker side. And Shinso's like, don't really like that comparison. But it's a good point. Shinso also had to deal with people thinking that he didn't have a quirk suited for being a hero. It was suited for being a villain. And yeah, when you think about it, it's interesting that Monoma was able to progress as far as he has with just this copycat ability. He had to be very inventive with it in order to get this far. And so he says that he basically they start coming up with a plan. Monoma's like, hey, when you brainwash Midoriya, how did you trick him into speaking? And Shinso just says, well, I don't know. I don't know the guy. I just insulted his friend, and then he reacted.
He was like, I started calling his mom and everyone he knows pieces of shit, and apparently he started really getting angry.
I just told him that, his friends didn't actually like him and that he had a small dick,
I told him his dog was stupid and I wanted to run it over. He got surprisingly angry about that.
I just told him that his local sports team sucked.
Yeah, I told him the Seattle Supersonics left the city and then they booed for 15 straight minutes. It's crazy.
It was amazing. So what Monoma says is like, we we have to paradoxically actually act like villains in order to become heroes, because otherwise we can't actually keep pace with other heroes. We can't just act like the heroes of our childhood, basically, in order to become them. And surely you have probably felt this way before. It's as if we are cursed. Speaking of curses, One for All is exploding out of Deku's arm, so yay. Monoma doesn't really realize this at first. He just thinks it's like a new evolution of his quirk. So Deku does have a brief chance to warn him to run away before energy explodes out of him everywhere. There's like a cloud of it, and then the strands of energy kind of seem to lash out like claws almost. And he's really completely lost control of his quirk at this point. Nobody seems to know what's going on, however. Even the people who are just watching the match from the sidelines are thinking, oh, it's a new move that Midoriya has. But Deku is warning Monoma. It's like, no, you've got to run. I can't control this. So it starts wrecking everything around him. It's even lashing out towards Uraraka's group. And she seems to immediately realize what's going wrong, as the power is actually dragging Midoriya around and kind of flailing him all over the place. Toshinori, of course, also realizes that something is wrong because, oh yeah, this isn't the power that One for All has. And Deku starts to get, of course, incredibly upset because he thought that he had finally managed to take control of this quirk. After all, and we get a montage of the manga, basically, all of the important power breakthroughs that he's gotten over the past 200 chapters. And now he realizes it's not even so much that he's actually worrying about his own safety or anyone else's safety anymore at this point. He's just, angry and upset with himself that he can't stop this and what's happening to him. So he actually starts pleading with One for All to stop until all of a sudden Uraraka just floats up towards him and grabs him. And she calls out to Shinso as the chapter ends. And that's it. We are going to have to wait until next year, Chris, to see the results of this.
Mm-hmm. Next year. So I'm a little interested in this because I do like that this final fight is feeling like maybe this like long tournament arc has been for something as opposed to just be like, hey, here's some power ups. I was like, I don't know, you could have done that in like a single chapter, I feel like. But I'm also not super crazy on like One for All is going out of control, because that's just such treaded territory for battle shonen heroes. I think just about every other Jump hero, with the exception of like Luffy and I guess maybe like Toriko that I can think of, has had some kind of like transformation thing where it's like, oh no, my power is going crazy, especially like in recent years with Naruto and Bleach. So I'm not super stoked to be like, let's tread this ground again, but I mean, it's all about the execution, so Horikoshi might just do it in an interesting way.
Yeah. We still really don't know exactly what's going on here. Again, this is something that All Might never had to deal with. As far as we know, nobody has dealt with this aspect of One for All, but I guess we'll find out. There is like a really weird little moment in the second to last page where, as Deku is pleading with One for All to stop, that we see a face like seemingly gazing out of the blackness of the energy surrounding him. So interesting little bit there. And I do actually really like the fact that Uraraka is the one who realizes that something is wrong and she immediately jumps into action. There's all this, energy flailing around, destroying stuff, and she just realizes that something is wrong and she goes to help out her friend. So. And okay. Food Wars. Food Wars. Shokugeki no Soma. It's chapter 293. Um So it's Soma taking on Sarge. The chapter title is Wildly Armed. This is the chapter where basically we get to see the various things that Sarge can use her gimmick to cook for before she loses. Like that seems to be what this chapter is all about. We also see that she uses a lot of weird military jargon. Because Asahi, we get a flashback to when Asahi says like, "Oh yeah, I met that first Yukihiro Soma. He was a total scrub. Beat him easy. Anyway, I'm going to bed." And then she's like, "That was General Asahi's judgment of him, but he passed that third gate trial. But Asahi's declared you a scrub. Therefore, you must be a scrub." She keeps on saying scrub.
As they do in the military.
I guess. I wouldn't know.
Before they get into their cooking battles.
Yeah. I know there's some cooking that's done in the military. Gotta have a mess hall. Yeah. So the challenge that they've got to cook is they've got to create a Christmas cake. And everyone's like, "Well, what's a Christmas cake?" It's like, "This is a Christmas cake." And all the judges sit around a table like at a Christmas party, and they have giant party hats with snowflakes on them.
Well, there's a moment where I don't know who this guy is supposed to be. He's
the ponytail mustache guy?
No, the glasses guy. I don't know. He's an announcer, maybe. I don't know. But he's like, "What's going on? It's not even Christmas. It's fucking August. Like, I don't know why we're doing it." And the mustache guy, who's basically a liaison to the bookmaster, is like, "To explain it would be pointless. The logic of the bookmaster is far beyond yours." I'm like, I don't even think I've heard of Christmas.
They're eccentric. Fuck off.
Which is a great reason to be like, sure, I guess Christmas cake in July, sure.
We're the only series this week doing a special Christmas chapter. Fuck yourself.
Exactly. Like, I wish it was like a meta commentary. It was just like, it just felt like the right time of the year for it. And like the characters are like, in August?
Well, you know, it could be like the cartoon Fridays with Christmas in July and all the other things that do Christmas in July. But that's the first one I ever saw, so that's the one I go with. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So they're like, "We gotta make a Christmas cake, apparently." So Sarge says, "Do you know how to bake Yukihiro Soma?" And he's like, "I know a little bit about it." Like, that's where we're awesome because we know everything about cooking. And watch, I've mastered the arm dish. I'm going to use my chainsaw to whip this batter up.
And it's a very delicate battering for a chainsaw.
It's just like, it's just however many, like, using absurd weaponry to cook things that you can think of. Basically, I'm going to use a sledgehammer to break this chocolate bar into bits. I'm going to use a detonator to blow up the cake layers. And it's very silly. And she makes a good cake, and it's explosively good. See, get it? Explosive, because she used a detonator. It's just explosion. It's cluster bomb cake, it's called. And yay, people like it, and it's tearing the clothes off of some. It's a Shokugeki no Soma sequence, yeah. And so Soma's just like, "Yeah, well, I've got my own special chainsaw right here," and he pulls out. I don't know what this is. It might be a Japanese thing. There's a thing that says ice cream on it though, and then there's a little wooden stick.
This is a poor thing. There's when I was a kid, they used to get ice cream. It was usually like the ice cream they'd hand out in school. So like it would be an ice cream, maybe like the size of like like a fourth of a water bottle kind of thing, like that, like wide, but like that tall. And you'd eat it with a wooden spoon. It would just be like this wooden, like exactly what he's holding there. And you just dip that in. Because the ice cream was usually at like a different consistency. So it just kind of was a lot easier to dab in. And that's always what you ate it with. So I assume that's just like what cheap ice cream usually comes with, to be like, here, you can eat it with this. They had extra woods.
Okay. That's what he has.
That's his trick, is he's going to be cheap.
That's what he do, I guess.
I actually like this chapter a good deal, just because I like Food Wars more when the characters and everyone involved is as bombastic and ridiculous as possible. So having like a moment where she's just like, I'm chainsawing my meringue, but very delicately so as to perfectly get this. If my arm were to move a centimeter, we'd all be splattered. And it's like, well, time to break chocolate with an enormous sledgehammer. And it's all very stupid and silly, but I can enjoy it. Like, I fully accept that the conclusion of this match is going to be that Soma wins. Soma's not going to lose in the first round of this tournament. No. But someone had to go up against Soma in the first round, and I'm glad the opponent he's going up against is someone that's going to be at least vaguely memorable.
Someone had to beat the Kino Kuni.
Exactly. So I enjoy her cooking style. It actually does make a food that looks pretty good and I kind of want to try. And I just enjoy the weird, crazy nature of everything she's doing.
Hooray! That's the chapter.
Indeed. Let's talk about Eden Zeranek. Chapter 25, Take Aim.
Okay. I may surprise you slightly with something I have to say later, but we'll get to it.
All right. So we start this chapter as Shiki's being attacked by the three members of Rogath that are still there. Jin, Fake Sister, and the other guy. And the other guy is using like an assault rifle to shoot him, and he's really bad. He's fucking terrible at shooting a gun. So Shiki reveals a new technique. Rather impromptu, he reveals that he compresses gravity into spheres and then shoots them out, essentially making kind of like a scatter gun.
Yes.
So there's a whole moment when Shiki's like, I just got to remember what Rebecca taught me, to aim carefully and fire. And he knocks out the other guy, and then he sends another bunch at Sister, who takes Jin and uses him as a shield. He's like, why? And she's like,
why?
You're my shields. And it's fine, because I just heal you. And Shiki, of course, is like, how can you do this to your own men? Then we cut away because Rebecca's going after Copa, because that's her name. It's Copa. She says Copa like 7 times.
Copa. Oh, hey, it's Copa's hat.
Press X to Copa. And she wanders into Aliga's chamber. So she sees all the various women who have been like fucking turned to stone. And she's like, this is horrible. And then Aliga shows up, and he's got Copa, which is her name apparently. And he's like, I caught her. And you made me mad, so get on your knees. And she, they do it, and there's some BDSM
bark
stuff
like a dog.
Yeah, there's a lot of that for a little bit. But then, I don't think this dude has a name. He comes in, he's a servant, and he's like, we gotta get out of here because the time dragon in space is gonna eat our planet and send us back. So we gotta get out of here. And he's like,
I actually do like the phrasing of the conversation, because he's like, it's an emergency, and a chronophage is headed towards us. A what? It's a giant dragon that devours a planet's time. Well, that is an emergency.
But Liga's like, oh no, what about my collection? And he's like, you just started on a new planet. And the sisters betrayed us anyway, so it's not safe. He's like, geez. He's like, well, I guess I'll just take this one. Because he was saying, he's like, I'm not going to turn you into, I'm going to make you my toy, Rebecca. So he's like, I'll at least take her. And he, like, I guess goes to threaten her, and he realizes, like, shit, she took my gun. And we cut back to a flashback where Rebecca is teaching Shiki about aiming, which, I mean, I get he spent his time with robots. I don't know why the very concept of aiming a weapon is something he's alien to, but she's explaining to it through a video game and being like, yeah, you just gotta kind of be really good at spotting moving objects and then firing. So it's like a dual shot of them both firing. And the only thing we really actually see, I assume that Rebecca just... Oh, she does shoot Legan in the head. I don't
She shoots him and the servant both in the head.
The servant, I feel like, didn't deserve the exact same fate.
No, but...
he was there, I suppose. But Shiki Blast...
He was definitely helping Ilya to do all the horrible stuff he was doing, so he deserves a similar fate.
True. Rebecca did that, and then Shiki punches all of them together, and then Sister's like, I'll just use my healing powers. But then I don't know what her fucking voice is supposed to be.
I ain't gonna let you do that, Missy.
Yeah, it's definitely like Southern Belle, like, I ain't gonna let you do that, Missy. You think you can go around and take my powers without asking? I sentenced you to Great Demon King latrine duty. And that's the end of the chapter.
And then, yeah, and Shiki's like, I'm seeing double 4 sisters.
This series would be infinitely better if it quoted Simpsons more often.
I actually like the aim sequence. I like the idea that they're, accomplishing the same thing at the same moment based off of a conversation that they had earlier. That said, this would have been so much better if it didn't contain freaking Rebecca down on her knees with like the POV right behind her so that you can see the way like her suit rides up on her. It's like, come on, dude. How much more do you need to do this for this one arc? Have you not met your quota yet? But apparently, no, it's got to have at least one instance of fan service every single chapter. You can't possibly get away from that. Jesus Christ, hero.
Yeah, I might, I don't know, it might be the vicious head pain that I'm in. I think I might be done reading reading 0 for the recap. I'm like, it wasn't honestly even the fucking weird fan service stuff. It's when we get to the end and I'm like, I just hate this new...
Meet the real Sister Ivory.
And I'm like, she sounds so fucking annoying. I don't know why. The fucking line of like, I sentenced you to Great Demon King latrine duty. And I'm like, she kidnapped you and has been helping with the assistance of kidnapping women from across the galaxy to be sold into real slavery. It just feels weird to be like, ha, I got you. You're going to have to clean poop. I'm like, I can't keep doing this.
It's one of those things where, like, the villain in a really kiddie show gets a very light punishment because you can't have kids thinking about the ways that they can be punished, like jail or whatever. It's just like, now you have to sit in time out.
Well, my impression would hopefully be that this isn't actually like this was her introduction, not her being like, this is your sentence, and that was just supposed to be a cool line. But it's such a shitty, non-cool line.
You're right.
That I'm like turned off from the character already, that I'm like, I don't know if I want to keep even reading this if you're going to be a significant character going forward.
It would be one of those things where it's like, yeah, I've got a religious motif about me. I sentence you to burn in the fires of hell. And it says like, I sentence you to Demon King latrine duty.
And then she laughs at her own joke. She has a little like, hey, like
latrine. That means that's where poop goes.
And then combine this with the fact that she also apparently has like a Southern Belle voice or whatever bullshit that's supposed to be country.
I said a Latin, not a word.
I do declare you're going to have to clean a lot of dookie by the end of this night.
A lot of dookie. That's what Southern Belle say.
Yep. I can recall. I read The Streetcar Named Desire, and Blanche at least 7 times said dookie in it, so I'm pretty much picking up the lingo right from her. Nick in his Straw Hat Cup.
Yeah. All right, so we're gonna move on to talk about Chainsaw Man now. Chapter 4, Power.
Are we doing Boruto?
Oh yeah. What happened to that chapter? Did I close the tab somehow? Whatever. I'll pick it up after. I'll do it after this chapter.
That works.
Did I close that chapter by accident? I did. Wow. No wonder I didn't see it. Okay. I'll have to get that open. Anyway, so Chainsaw Man. It's all about how Denji's annoying, basically. It's just like hanging out at the apartment that he now shares with his partner, I guess. And he's just, eating really gross bread with all of the condiments on it, taking forever in the bath and singing a terrible song while doing so, falling asleep while he's on the toilet. I don't know if he's actually wearing... You can't see his ankles, so I can't tell if he's actually taking his pants off while he's on the toilet.
Those people are monsters, aren't they?
Yeah. With the ones who shit through their pants when they sit down on the toilet, yes.
Well, I meant the people who take off their pants fully before going to the bathroom.
My point is that because it's black and white...
Oh, you just think
I can't tell if he's actually taking them off at all because you can't see his ankles.
That's a much different scenario.
But yeah, he might just not be wearing them at all. There are 3 options, and 2 of them are weird. Anyway, they get called out to deal with a devil extermination job, and so his partner tries to get him to like, "Hey, you have to show me that you're useful here. So transform into a demon and kill this guy." And there's a guy in the house who's eating a chicken. I guess he was keeping it in a bird cage. I guess he's eating a pet bird. But he's also got like a set of like pincher mandibles coming out of his lip.
He's a weird dude because you can also see what looked to be a bunch of like voyeur magazines around him too.
Well, it could just be like a bachelor pad. So
that's what I mean, yeah. But
anyway, so he's like, fiends have the devil's personality. You kill this one. Turn into a devil. Show me your power. And I'll decide whether you're useful or not. And Denji's just like, and just chops off the guy's head with an axe cleanly. And the guy's like, why didn't you use your devil power? He's like, well, when I use my power to kill devils, it looks super painful. So I just thought, I could have ended up like a fiend, so I wanted to give him a painless death. What's wrong with you? A devil hunter shouldn't be sympathizing with devils. My entire family was killed by a devil right before my eyes. I want them to suffer when I kill them. Anyway, this guy seems stable and like he should be in this position of authority. Anyway, it turns out that Denji's reason for killing the guy this way was to do it as bloodlessly as possible so he could just take the guy's porno mags. Yeah. I don't know if I like anyone in this manga now, Chris.
Hey, you know what? That's some thrifty thinking, though, because those magazines probably are like, probably like $10 a pop. I feel like I haven't bought a magazine in like 13 years, so I assume they're all $70 or something like that. So he just saved himself enough money to get like a PlayStation at this point. So that's just thrifty thinking on his part.
So then we get to a point where Denji's thinking of what to do after this, because he thinks about the promise that he made with Pochita about, showing him his dream. And he's like, well, I've gotten my dream though. I just, my dream is just to hold on to this life that I've secured for myself now. I get to bathe and eat food and I'm close to a pretty girl. I guess I see the point. Like, maybe there's something missing, because like, I don't like have a goal outside of that now. Cause the police officers want to protect their families. That dude wants to get revenge, I guess. Does Makima have a goal? Does Makima have... Wait, I'm thinking about Makima. Think about Makima's body. Think about Makima's boobs. I like boobs and want to touch them. What should I do in order to touch boobs? That's my goal now, to get to touch boobs. And then he's like called in for a meeting. And with Makima, and she says, I'm gonna pair you up with a buddy starting today. He's like, okay. If I ask to touch Makima's chest, she might start to hate me, so I don't know if I can do that. So, fuck's sake, dude. And he finds out that his new buddy's gonna be a girl, and she's got boobs, and he's like, all right, awesome.
He's like, just those ones.
Kind of, doesn't really pay a whole lot of mind to the fact that she's a fiend. Like, he starts to mention, is like, wait a minute, your name's Power, and you've got devil horns and fangs, and you're a fiend? Fiends can be devil hunters? Oh, you got boobs. Okay. Glad to be working with you.
It all works. I don't know why the notion that's amusing to me is simply because the way it's framed and cut lends itself to this joke where he's thinking about how much his goal was to touch boobs, and then the first time he sees Makima, he just shouts out melons. Yeah. I like what's very funny to me is imagining that is meant to exist in that universe without the context of a hard cut between those scenes. So he just went upstairs, saw her, and screamed melons at the top of his lungs. And she was like, what? And that's all I have to say on this chapter of Dog Dude, or whatever it's called. Chainsaw Dog.
Just to recap, our three main characters at this point are perverted loafer, a dickbag who has a sadistic streak, and a sadistic manipulative bitch. So
now you know what's interesting about this, Nick. Have you ever played No More Heroes?
No.
Okay. Well, I've heard of it. Have you heard of it? I'm assuming Travis touched
heard of it. Yes.
Okay. Well, I never played it, and for something unrelated, I started watching the story of it because I needed to know kind of the narrative, and I was like, everyone in this series is assholes, and I was like, is it just like the crazy action that people are into it from? And you're like, oh, okay, like maybe that's what the same sort of thing here is too. Is just like, yeah, it's kind of the aesthetic as everyone is assholes.
I guess. I don't know. I guess we'll see.
Maybe we find more enriching stuff as it goes through.
Possibly. Well, anyway, moving on to a series that definitely doesn't have a jerk off of a protagonist. Let's talk about Boruto. I got the chapter open. Yay. Okay. Chapter number 30. Face to Face.
I want to talk about the cover page.
Okay.
I did not expect that to be Delta's color scheme.
She looks very JoJo-y, doesn't she?
She looks extremely JoJo-y. And, I mean, I kind of also wish I had long, luxurious neon yellow hair. Like, I feel like that's a look that's very distinct.
With a matching shade of lipstick.
Mm-hmm. Well, you'd have to. You really can't just let it stand for itself. And I like that there's a whole conversation they have. They're like, we can't sneak into Konoha. We'll be caught immediately because our chakra. I'm like, bitch, you're going to be...
I've got a robot decoy on my back!
And I'm like, bitch, you're going to be caught immediately because you're the only person out there in fucking neon yellow giant hair.
Oh, no. There's some weird-looking people in Naruto. Just look at Kawaki.
No, that's cool. That's
No, you don't understand. This is in fashion.
This is what cool people do.
How do you make a fucking vase? God damn it. He's pasting it together. And I like how Himawari's like, well, you bought us a new one, so I thought that your debt was repaid. He's like, fuck you, Boruto. Koji is stalking around. He's got the frog spying on him, and I guess he's just like in an abandoned tower or something. I guess no one goes up here because he's just hanging out there sitting on his ass like, all right, I'm counting on you, Kawaki and Uzumaki Boruto, because I was not planning to meddle in this. I'm just going to sit here and watch you. He actually says, heh heh heh, so... Anyway, so Delta gets sick of waiting, so she throws her cape off, revealing that she has a heart-shaped hole in the back of her top, which reveals that she has the Triforce on her back. But it's not really the Triforce, it's a robot drone that she can send out to spy, and because it's artificial, it won't be detected by the Yamanaka spies. And so it just goes... She's like, go find Kawaki for me! It's so weird to see all the new technology in Boruto because it feels so often like it doesn't fit.
You really have to get used to it quickly because if you're like, well, this weird robot on her back's going to be crazy, you're going to be like, in like 20 pages or however long it is before her legs open up and she has jets. And you're like, oh, this is a very different series from the one I remember. All right. Got to remember that. Let's go.
So Boruto comes in and looks at Kawaki, and he's like, "You're just giving up as soon as you realize it's tough." And it's like Kawaki's like, "I haven't given up. Who said I was giving up?" Like he was frustrated and trying to figure out what to do, but he's like, "Ugh, it's impossible. It's not reasonable." And then Boruto comes in like 5 minutes later. He's like, "You're just giving up when you realize it's tough." Like, you just revealed that you were spying on him, you weirdo.
Also, how tough can this be? Those are enormous shards of this fucking vase. It should not be this hard. And it's got a pattern on it. Like, it should not be this hard to figure out where these things go.
It's the hardest jigsaw puzzle ever. There's 20 pieces.
One of them's kind of tiny. I'm like, I don't know, put the big pieces together and see where there's a spot for something small? That will never work.
Nah, I'm just going to use it to stab the guy I've got locked up in the basement.
No! My favorite scene.
So, or I guess vice versa, whatever. So, Kawaki, or rather, Boruto says like, "Hey, you want to research this karma thing, right? I'll help you." And Kawaki's like, "What's changed?" It's like, well, I mean, I kind of figured that it'd be better if I knew how to use it as opposed to just, it randomly activating on me in combat. He's like, "All right, that's pretty strong reasoning." For an idiot. Oh, sick burn, Kawaki. You got him there. Oh, you're so dismissive and insulting. You're so cool.
He is extremely cool. I mean, let's be real.
So they head out to a field to spar. Himawari and Naruto come with them. And Kawaki's like, "Hey, look, you've got to activate it under pressure, but don't worry, I'll go easy on you." And Boruto's like, "No need. Hold back, and you're the one who will be hurting." Oh, sick burn, Boruto, you showed him.
You know what?
Oh, nice phrase there.
This is 100% is exactly as accurate as a fight between two 12-year-olds really is. Like, this is really capturing it.
Look at how cool we are in our jackets. Yeah, my jacket doesn't have sleeves, though. You can see the seals going down my arm. So badass.
Yeah, well, I didn't buckle off my belt. It's just hanging off wherever.
I'm going to trip over it.
Fuck, I hate children.
The reason why he has it undone is because if he actually buckled it, it would go up about a foot over his belly button. So they start sparring and launching stuff at each other. And and then Kawaki grows a thing out of his arm. And Naruto's like, his entire body is a scientific ninja tool. And Kawaki's like, "Hey, try and absorb this. Don't dodge it." And Boruto dodges it. And he's like, "Come on, it's only going to hurt a little. Relax." Boruto does actually absorb it this time. He's like, "Why did you do that? Fuck you. You've got to teach me how to do it." And Kawaki's like, "It's not that hard, you idiot." And then Naruto's like, "Okay, come on. If you guys are done, chill. Do the unison sign, remember? Like we established in like the last chapter or very recently. I forget exactly when." And Boruto's like, "All right, it's just like you hold out your hand like this. I know how it's done. I saw you do it. Shut up." And then they do the ninja unison sign. And then all of a sudden, throb, and it hurts them both to touch that way for some reason. And something is happening. They're reacting. And Boruto sees an image of it's very hard to say this name. Otsutsuki Momoshiki. Oh, he saw a vision of him. He doesn't know why. He's like, "Hey, did you see a guy just now?" And Kawaki's like, "What are you talking about?" Anyway, Koji realizes, because he's spying on them this whole time, that Boruto's wounds have healed involuntarily. So he doesn't know exactly what's going on, if it's actually karma that did it, or if it's something peculiar to Boruto. But if Jigen also possesses the same power, it's going to be problematic. And then the Triforce drone spots them, and Delta's like, "I found you. I'm going to go into Konoha and be detected. But it's fine. My legs can rip apart, and they've got jet boosters in them." So she flies off like a robot. And Ino immediately detects her and alerts Naruto. And Naruto's like, Boruto, you should take Hima and run because they're after Kawaki, and I'll fight them here. Oh no, the robot's here already. And Kawaki recognizes Delta, and Delta's like, it seems you remember how sublime my punishments can be, Kawaki. And she's all like, posing.
I like how Koji, I think is his name, how nonplussed he is. Like, he's like,
well, he's gonna cause shit. Oh well.
He's like, but everything he says seems like he should be very emotional. He's like, Delta, that fool is totally out of control. But he has no emotion to his face. Like, it doesn't change whatsoever. And he's still sitting down in the middle of that fucking random ass tower. So he's just like, well, that's none of my business, though. Like, sipping on fucking tea like Kermit. You're just like, no.
I mean, I guess I should do something like escape or take action to stop her, but I've got dailies to finish up, so.
He's just doing shit on his phone. He's like, these gotcha pools aren't going to do themselves.
I'm never going to keep pace with Jeff if I take a moment to stop her.
There's two villain organizations in this series. There's whatever the current one is with the hand symbol shit. I don't remember its name. It's probably something stupid like Square or Neo or something like that. But there's another one of gotcha pool crime syndicates, and Jeff is at the very top of that list.
He wears a stupid mask. He's got weird hand symbols and wears a cloak.
He finds young children and downloads the app onto their phones and
forces them to play on his account when he's sleeping or something.
Oh yeah, he's like, I
must continue farming for me.
You need to use my stamina while I sleep. And he falls asleep in like a giant over-the-top coffin. It has like fucking cables and shit like going out of it into like giant ancient statues. It's very elaborate. Someone's like, what does this do? He's like, I don't know. This was just here when my group set up the base.
Anyway, that was the chapter of Boruto.
That it was.
Yeah, that happened, I guess.
That's fine. I dig it.
I never actually paid attention to Delta's earrings up to this point, but her earrings are Delta signs.
Yeah, I mean, there's also the
triangle.
Yeah, the triangle and everything on her back.
Also, the drone that she launches is also a Delta symbol comprised of smaller Delta symbols.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. All right. That's that.
All right. Let's talk about Lation. This is Process 3, the Lemming game. So, it opens with...
Because it's a lemming game. Sorry.
I always forget. I know Neo, and I always forget the other guy's name. And this is why I wish we still had like the old character introduction things. Diego?
Yeah.
Or Daigo?
It's Daigo.
Daigo.
Yeah.
So they're like, oh, hey, this place is a mess. I'll clean up. And Neo's like, well, I'll just watch you clean up and do commentary. And like Daigo's like, just go somewhere else. And he's like, all right, and he leaves. Like, just like that was the threat of like, well, I'm not going to help, but I'll watch you clean and critique as you clean. He's like, please just leave. So he goes out and he passes by the local school dance team. We see, because they're midway dance moves at the moment. They're very good, apparently. So
it's a really weird introduction because you go from just like the characters that you know just talking to suddenly on the next page like, we're dancing. 4 people you've never seen before, but then I realized immediately one of those. Oh wait, that's the girl from the title page. So yeah. Okay,
yeah. So that one walks over. Her name is Yoko. She says everyone calls her Yuko, which fuck that. And she's like, oh hey.
Well, her name is Yuko, and everyone calls her Yuko.
Yeah.
Just call her Yuko. It's easy enough.
Yuko. So she asks if he's Neo, and he's like, nope. She's like, oh, I'm sorry. I didn't mean that. She goes over to the hot dog stand, and then she comes back and she's like, you motherfucker.
I know that you're the super hacker Neo, and that's why I've got something to tell you. It's like, nah, I don't want to. Okay.
Then she leaves, heads over to the fucking hot dog stand again, presumably just consistently going over to talk with Daigo's sister. And she's like, Hear me out at least. And she tells a story here about how her friend Saki is missing, that she's not really the kind of person that would run away, and she's worried that maybe she's been kidnapped. So, I just please do something to help her, because I know that you can. And it's just like, don't high school girls run away from home all the time? Can you prove it wasn't a kidnapping? And she's like, of course not. I'm not very bright. This is the second time now they've reiterated that she's dumb as a brick.
She's stupid.
Which is weird because, I mean, I don't know what she would need to do to prove it's a kidnapping. Like,
yeah, really. Like, you would have to, like, have like a ransom note or footage or have witnessed it or something like that. Just like, no, my friend is missing and I think that something happened to her. Like,
but Neo's like, well, then, no, I'm not going to help you. And she's like, I thought you took on Unsolved Mysteries. He's like, no. I just like bullying bad guys and taking photos. I'm far less noble than what you think. But then the hot dog lady shows up and is like, hey, I'm asking you to help. And Neo still doesn't agree to it. So she's like, okay, but if you solve the case, then I'll treat you to 10 hot dogs on the house. And he's like, you don't think I'll fall for such a cheap deal, will I? Hard cut over. And Yuko's like, I'm so glad you accepted the deal of 10 hot dogs and a shitty dessert with each one. And he's like, yes, I am pretty smart. And then there's a moment where someone's like, why are you here, Dago? He's like, because my sister told me to tag along to make sure you're actually doing work to earn your 10 free hot dogs. But then he's like, also, it's because I'm a good person. I'm the one good person right here. And that's they have this moment where he's just like, yeah, when someone's in trouble, I'm going to do something. So they go to Miki, I forgot her name, Seiki's room, and they're trying to look around for clues, but they're like, we're not finding anything. So Daigo asks, like, well, what kind of person was she? And he's like, yeah, well, she's kind of a really shy girl. Like, she always watched us practice, but she never practiced herself. She's just not very assertive. She's not very opinionated, very easygoing person, but she's exceptionally talented. And they ask, like, hey, why don't you join, pursue fashion designs, because she designed the dance team's logo.
Brand new babies.
Yeah, which is you know what, not a bad name for a ska band, so I might steal that one. And then she's like, no, I'm not talented enough for that, and she always kind of put everyone else above her. So she gets a little emotional thinking about it. Daigo's like, all right, we're gonna have to get her back. All we need is one quick lead. And they cut over to Neo, who's just looking at her underwear, like is looking at one of her bras, and is just like, she didn't leave any notes behind. And I like that Daigo comes up and is just like, what the fuck are you doing? Why are you going through her underwear drawer? And he's just like, I don't know, I thought maybe it would be where others, like, she wouldn't want people to, like, look. Which would have just been enough for a stupid joke. But I do like that Yuko goes over and she's also holding up the bra in the exact same way. And she's just like, I didn't think she had this kind of asserted attitude of underwear in her. I don't know. It amused me. And there's a whole moment then where Neo looks in and he's like, I've looked at all the stuff she's been downloading, anything like that. And he noticed that she downloaded an app recently called The Lemming Game. And Nick, you know what lemmings do, right?
Well, yeah, you command them to do different things because otherwise they'll just walk in a straight line and they'll, fall into the lava. So what you need to do is you need to get as many of them to get to the exit as possible by clicking on them and giving them commands.
Mm-hmm. Yep. That's exactly how lemmings work in real life and in the titular game that Nick's referring to. So they know that the way it works is the lemming game is something where a game master sends you something. So it'll say, boom, wake up at 6 a.m. and find 3 cats. And you send the picture of you completing that and you get, like, I don't know, a prize or something. I don't know if there's even a prize to it. But he explains how this is all because of Pokemon Go. It's an augmented reality game. It only happens. They actually note this specifically. They're like, you ever notice how since Pokemon Go came out, there's been an increase in augmented reality games? And they're like, this one specifically, though, it's in the title. Lemmings. This cute animal has become world-renowned for a certain peculiar behavior. Lemmings are rare in the world because they commit mass suicides. Which I meant to, after I read this chapter, do some research on, because I feel like that's not entirely true. I know the rumor I heard. Actually, this is where Snope comes in. Hold on.
Mm-hmm.
No. Give me a page. Snope's Lemmings.
It is not a deliberate mass suicide where the animal voluntarily chooses to die, but rather an unfortunate result of their migratory behavior. Driven by strong biological urges, some species of lemmings may migrate in large groups when population density becomes too great. They can swim and may choose to cross a body of water in search of a new habitat. In such cases, many drown if the chosen body of water happens to be the Atlantic Ocean or is in any case so wide as to exceed their physical capabilities. This, the unexplained fluctuations in the population of Norwegian lemmings, and perhaps a small amount of semantic confusion, suicide not being limited to voluntary deliberation, but also the result of foolishness, gave rise to the myth.
There's also the fact that old Disney documentary where they think they videotaped it and it was just them drawing.
What, an old Disney production was misleading? What?
They murdered hundreds of animals just for a story. So there is that. But the myth about that being what lemmings are partially known for is still relatively held true. And that traces the thing of like, hey, wait, you mean you're trying to like indicate Saki might commit suicide? No, I know her. She'd never do that. But they're like, no, I think this is exactly what's happening because it escalates. They talk about how there's another game that was very similar to that. And on the 50th day, at the end of it, your instruction was to kill yourself. And apparently, this is another thing I wanted to do research on, but I forgot to look it up. They said that over 130 people were known to have committed suicide from this game. And it was, this is a knockoff of it. So this is the Japanese version of that. And we have only 1 day left until Saki is potentially going to commit suicide. So that's the tension of this little story. How'd you feel, Nick?
I don't know. I like the way that this is playing out, I guess. I do like the, race stakes, and I actually really like the artwork in this chapter. So yeah, this is interesting.
I like
I'm kidding. Yeah. Blue whale, by the way, is an actual thing, a social network phenomenon from 2016 that is claimed to exist in several countries. A game reportedly consisting of a series of tasks assigned to players by administrators over a 50-day period, initially innocuous before introducing elements of self-harm in the final challenge requiring the player to commit suicide. I don't know if it's an actual thing or if it's just like a legend, but apparently, there have been arrests. There have been, So there basically there is this is an actual thing. It's not just something that was made up in this manga. So,
which does add a little bit more intrigue to it, I think.
Mm-hmm.
I think there is a lot for this series to basically pull off of, even if it's a lot of myths and stuff like that. To at least create some interesting stories.
Right. There is many think that the original was like a hoax, but there have been a lot of attempts since then to kind of try and imitate it. So this, I don't know, this is getting, this is more interesting to me. Neo actually having to do all these weird, computer related, things than just someone was kidnapped and I hacked his computer to spit flaming papers at him. So
it looks like some groundwork's going to need to be done to put into it. And I kind of like the Yuko as a character. She seems fun. I mean, it's weird that they hammered it 3 times. You're kind of stupid.
She's an idiot.
But I do find her charming in her own ways. I found her amusing, and I appreciate that the group dynamic seems to be enhanced with her in it already.
Right. Yeah.
So this is where the thumbs up, thumbs down comes, Nick. Are you gonna keep talking Neolation as the chapters come out?
I feel like I would be more positive on this than with Chainsaw Man. So,
Boosh! And there it is. Lation got 2 thumbs up. Now we're going to talk about it forever. And after the series ends, if it cancels, we're going to make up fan fiction. And we're going to talk about that during the chapter spot instead.
Neo to my lation and backdoor or something.
No, it'd be called Hack the System, ... to my penis.
Anyway, let's move on to Hell Warden Higuma, Chapter 2, which is titled Where Sin Remains. So, I was wondering if that girl from the first chapter was going to, be a recurring character, and how. She basically just got a job at the shrine where Higuma works. So there you go. Hooray.
Makes sense.
I do really like that, the fact that they just like, yeah, here, I decided that I wanted to help out, and so I did. You're good to be working with you. Also, we're introduced to, we saw this little flaming cup thing earlier, but it turns out that it's kind of Higuma's like familiar or, animal companion or something. And he's kind of the guy that keeps Higuma honest and tells him to do all the regular stuff so that he'll, survive and stuff. Higuma was planning on spending his day doing nothing, just playing Smash Brothers against another set of hands, which is kind of amazing. And the little bowl thing introduces itself as Roku when Ayaha comes in to work there. And she says she's doing this specifically as kind of a way of just like, this is a way of me paying you back for the help that you did. Higuma doesn't really want it, but she wants to help out. So also, Higuma treats her as if she's like a good kid when she's like 2 years older than him, which I do like that joke a little bit. The main thing that happens in this chapter is that Ayaha is concerned because her brother has recovered from being possessed by a demon in the previous chapter, but he remembers the things that he did while he was possessed. And Higuma says, yeah, I get that. Some people remember more than others whenever they're possessed. And she says, yeah, I get that. I mean, like, I know the fugitive spirit was to blame when I was possessed, but I still stole those things. So for him, he feels that his hands are stained, and I don't know what to say in order to make him feel better. So at that moment, Higuma gets an alert. He's got to go take care of a job. So he's like, hey, you come with me. And which surprised her because won't this be, dangerous? But he, I guess, knows the level of danger that they're going on. But anyway, they go off. He defeats, or I guess they don't even bother defeating the minor demons that are swarming around. But they spot the source of the fire is Hino Kirigumo Veil of Fire. It's a spider thing that spits out fire. And so he starts to... and also there's some minor guys there who he basically is commanding around doing stuff. And he explains to Ayaha what his task is as the Hell Warden, and what he's supposed to do, and also his methods. And he says the methods we use carry an important meaning, as he summons a pair of Zaiju that read 11. And Ayaha says, those hands look familiar. And Higuma says, well, they are more than mere tools. They are embodiments of sin and life directly connected to the reason we fight. And he calls upon 11 to summon this whip tongue thing identical to the one that Ayaha's devil-possessed brother used in the previous chapter. And so he's like, all right, we're going to use, this as a bit of a test run. And so he unleashes Kokugujo Bokushu of the Black Chords, defeats a bunch of the minor demons. And Ayaha's like, wait a minute, those hands were on that spirit that was possessing my brother. And Roku, I think, explains that hands are a place that harbor a person's sins. When people inflict harm on others, when people steal, they do so with their hands. But with a swing of a sword, Hell's Warden cut away those evil acts. By putting the hands to work as Zaiju, they force the hands to atone. And Ayaha realizes that because of this, her brother's hands are in fact unstained. He is not to blame for the stuff that the demon did while possessing him, and also she is not responsible for the things that she did while possessed when she was stealing stuff. And Higuma's like, yeah, this is why I brought you here. I wanted to see for yourself that I cut the hands off of the fugitive spirit. I cut away the sins it committed when it hijacked your brother's body. He needs to understand that, or my fight will be without meaning. He can't lose sight of who he is. So Ayaha is considerably happier about this. And they go home, and he says, on our off days, you have to fight me in Smash Brothers. And that's it. What'd you think, Chris?
It's fine. I don't know why. I'm wishing I could get into this series more than I am. But, okay. Not okay. Solid is the word I could think to describe it, and that's really kind of where it stays. I don't know. There's something. Maybe it's just that we've seen so many Exorcist type battle manga before that it's really hard to separate myself from all those. Mm-hmm. So I'm waiting. Let me see what the third chapter is gonna do before I could really, I guess, settle on on where I feel in this series.
I like the Mega Man gimmick, where he uses the powers that of those he defeats in order to force them to atone. Mm-hmm.
That is extremely cool.
And it's a solid theme all the way through. It's your hands are stained. Well, I use the hands of those that I defeat in order to force them to atone, and they're also my weapon. So cool stuff. So. All right. We Never Learn, Chris.
Yes, hold on a second here. This is the one I didn't fully open. We Never Learn, question 93. A predecessor knowingly raises an unprecedented X. So we opened this.
We haven't had for a while, Chris.
We haven't had a Kirasu chapter, and we got it. And it opens with Kirasu admitting complete defeat, an utter defeat. Absolutely. And once again, she's wearing her pants, which I assume at this point are sheer. How fucking little they actually. I'm like, there must be nothing there, and that's why this happens. So Yuiga is walking around the bookstore, and he sees a couple books. He's like, oh, these might be good for Aruka and Ogata. So he's picking them up. And then he sees a book on pedagogy. That's probably not the word. Google how to say pedagogy.
Pedagogy.
Pedagogy. Okay, I was pretty close. Pedagogy, which is I guess sort of the practice of teaching, apparently. So Yuiga sees this and then thinks back to what he was hearing about Ogata. And I think we just got our clue as to what Yuiga's secret passion is. I think he wants to become a teacher, which would make a ton of sense. But as he's preparing to put that book on, he notices Kirasu buying a shit ton of books. And he's like, wow, that's crazy. You got a whole lot. You sure are passionate about learning. And then she turns, and she's got a baby wrapped up against her chest, and all of the books are about parent care. And I do love Yuiga because no conversation has happened. He just sees the baby and all the books about parenting, and he's like, congratulations. And she's like, no.
No!
And explains that it's her aunt's daughter, in other words, her cousin, and she's only taking care of her for a few days because, I don't know, some crazy person was like, I'm going to leave my what looks to be infant daughter with someone else while we go on vacation.
You can take care of her, right?
Yeah, someone who has no experience with that, taking care of kids, whatever. So Kirasu is, of course, very confident because she's like, please, I'm an educator. Taking care of a child will be nothing. But we all know that Kirisu is
helpless.
is hopelessly incompetent in everything in life, and now another person, a baby's life, is responsible for her to take control of stuff. Which of course she fucking can't, because the baby starts crying and she starts being like, "Oh no, are you not happy with my pedagogical approach? Are you questioning your future path? What is it? I'm here for you." And so, like,
the first tip is to remain calm.
She's like, "Consider your future options." Yuega's just like, "I think you just need to change your fucking diaper." So he does. He changes her diaper. He gets a bottle for her. And he's just like, "Yeah, I'm pretty good at this. I kind of raised a bunch of kids myself." He teaches her like, "Yeah, you gotta, spill a little milk on yourself. That way you can make sure the temperature is right." And she's like, I don't know if it's a little bit hot. And Yuega, oddly enough, just licks it straight off her hand. He's like, "Nope, that should be fine." He's like, maybe I should have done that. But it works out. Baby's drinking it. And then there's a joke about Kirisu having...
I'm next to your boobs. Yeah. Let me suck on your nipples in front of the boy who will freak out when he sees even an ounce of cleavage.
Baby can't hold up its own head, mind you. But was strong enough to karate chop her shirt open. Which I appreciate. Then the baby starts getting into a big mess. I don't know why. I find it very amusing. So there's like a shot of like, I gotta go give her a bath. I'll do a cleaning blitz. And they smash cut to the baby in the bathtub, and they have her. I don't even know what it is. It's like a little inner tube, but it's just her head sticking through it, and the rest, almost like she was proportioned like a dog. Like the head needs to stay above, but all the limbs will go beneath the water, and she's just floating there. Very amusing. I don't think there's mostly just a bunch of fans.
Also, this baby's amazing.
Yeah.
She climbs fucking in a second this dresser.
Yeah, the baby's skilled. Let's not deny that. She goes to hand Yuega the baby through the door. The baby kicks the door again. Can't hold up its own head. Kicks the door with enough. Sends it open. This baby needs to be a martial artist. And Yuega's like, "The door!" And the baby, again, child, learned its first words to be like, "Mama, Papa!" And they're like, "No, we can't. We're teacher and student." There's a whole thing there. But finally, they get the baby to sleep. They're like, she's nodding off. Let's get going. But then as they start to move, baby grabs onto their shirts and is, starting to wake up and fuss. So like, okay, fuck. So they go and lay down with
We'll sleep with you, baby. It's okay.
Yeah. And Kirisu starts thinking like, babies are a mystery. I wonder what kind of person she'll become. This child has an unlimited future stretching out before her. And Yuega's like, indeed. And she's like, "You do too, Yuega." He's quiet and contemplative before eventually kind of going to sleep. And the baby wakes up because this fucking baby's perfect.
And then she's like, "Now to hack their phone."
Puts on sunglasses. They're like a Matrix costume. So we see the baby fuck with the phone. Then we cut over to the USA where Kirisu's younger sister is in ice skating competition, or I guess a practice performance. And she's like, I'm getting FaceTimed by my sister. What a beloved thrill. My dear sister's calling. Who, by the way, is in her phone as most beloved sister. It's not even her name. So
it's a little bit weird, yes.
Then the FaceTime shows, because the baby is no longer in between Yuega and Kirisu, shows just the two of them in bed.
Selfie time!
And Kirisu is holding her arm over, and Kirisu's sister is just like, "What the fuck's happening?" And then we get our end panel joke, which is just like, Natsumi, which is the baby, was returned safely to her parents a couple days later. But is it my imagination, or does Sensei seem a little bit sad?
There were some cute moments in this, I won't lie.
Yeah, that baby's fucking adorable.
I mean, for a Kirisu chapter, it was okay.
It could be a lot worse.
Yes. And also, of all the things in the world for her to be completely hopeless about, that Yuiga would know how to do. I mean, like, raising a kid, that makes sense. Like, so. Yeah, but I don't really have a whole lot to say about it. So, let's talk about Dr. Stone, Chris, because you know what time it is, of course.
It's time to get 9 o'clock.
Yeah, nine.
Which is my Stony time.
Oh, okay. So
Rip fat clouds, 420. 920 is just, hold on, 4 hours and 40 minutes away from 420. Blaze life. Carry on. I think my head makes so much worse by doing that.
So last week, the Senku determined that the only way that they could actually properly explore for oil and stuff was by actually observing things from above, meaning that they needed to fly in order to do so. They made a bunch of fabric and such so that they could make a balloon. Chrome hears about that because, remember, he and Kohaku and Ukyo had gone out to explore and stuff. So he wants to get back to the Kingdom of Science right away because he missed out on seeing the car. He missed out on seeing the tank. So he just races off on his own in order to get back there. Maybe he would make better progress if he didn't have those weird platforms on his sandals. That's
how Stone Age shoes were, Nick.
Yeah.
Go to a museum. You'll see them. Every caveman had giant platform shoes. I'm
sure. So we cut back and forth a little bit as we get our chapter title, Wings of Humanity, C equals 88, of, Senku making some calculations, Kaseki's making a basket, and Chrome is racing back because he wants to fly so bad! And they basically finish the balloon just about. In the next couple of pages, we see people sewing a bunch of layers of cloth together, Yuzuriha is a machine. Of course, it looks like she's basically printing one of those long strips of paper from the massive printers. And they basically finished making the balloon, which they just and they have it attached to the basket already. So. Now it comes down to, okay, we need to actually have a good, set of 3 people to go on the balloon. So, of course, everyone's like, all right, Senku has to go because he understands how it works. So that's a no-brainer. Then he says, like, okay, well, we also are going to need to have a strong navigator since it's going to rely on reading the winds, meaning, our pilot must know something about that. So Taiji is me like, oh, we should get used to it, and Gen's like, shut the fuck up. This guy's an asshole. We need to manipulate him into doing it. So Gen's just like, just leave this fucking shit to me because your deal making lacks all finesse. And so he's like, if we say that, he'll just say, all right, well, my fee is 100,000 dragos. So it's like, all right, fine, you take care of this shit. And so they have a lottery system, and Gen says there are still 2 open spots in the balloon. We'll decide this by luck of the draw. I have 2 Joker cards mixed into my deck. And so he holds out the set of cards. And so everyone's like, oh, I get it. So Ryusu's going to win the lottery by sheer coincidence, quote unquote. And Zega's like, I don't know if that'd work, though. So Ryusu's like, all right, I see how it is. All right. Well, if you needed me to do this that badly, fine. You just need to ask. But I'll just lower my pilot's reward to 1,000,000 dragos since you decided to, and he hasn't won. He doesn't have the Joker. So he looks at it like, wait, what? What? And everyone's confused, including Senku, which I actually do like that detail. He doesn't actually know what Gen's done here. And so Gen's just thinking to himself, see, when people lose what they were convinced they had, that's when the loss hits hardest. And in matters of the heart, we allow me to retest that theory. And so, he just takes one of the cards from the deck and is like, oh, it looks like I drew one of the Jokers. Well, I can't say I'm all that thrilled about it, but I guess I have to go on the balloon now. And then Senku finally catches on. He's like, oh, a once-in-a-lifetime platinum ticket, you say? You get to ride the new world's first ever flight again. Yeah, I don't know. I'm scared of the balloon, though. So Ryusui's like, oh, well, maybe I should bear that burden for you. And Gen's like, I don't know. It's a really precious ticket. I can't just give it away. And he actually pays him a shit ton of money to take it when he was going to charge them $1 million before. I think this guy might be a little bit bad at spending money, Chris.
He might be a bit of an idiot.
He just kind of fancies himself as intelligent, I guess. At that moment, Chrome gets back. As everyone's trying to figure out, like, all right, well, we still have one more person who can go on the balloon then. And Chrome's like, I'm here! You've got to let me on I will win the lottery and win by determination. So everyone takes a look at him because he gives this big speech as he says, I want to see from up in the sky what the Earth looks like. I know what you told me, Senku. The planet's round, but we've lived our whole lives in one tiny village. So to hear it from you, Senku, a guy who knows everything, that just isn't enough. And Gen's just like, yeah, okay. He sticks out one of the cards and he forces the other Joker on Crow. And Crow's like, yes, I did it! So, a cute, sweet little moment. It's like, yeah, okay, Chrome, you're our friend. We'll let you go on the balloon, you big nerd. Senku sends up a pilot balloon at night. Ryusui is, judging it along with him. And they're trying to figure out, all right, yeah, those winds will get us flying, good conditions for takeoff. And they actually start to set off while it's still night. They get everything going. Everyone's watching them go. A bunch of the villagers are amazed at the fact that they can actually go up into the sky. The sun comes up as dawn arrives, and they're flying, and that's the end of the chapter as they set off.
Hot air balloon acquired, Nick.
Doo-doo-doo-doo. Good
times. You're curious to see. It's nice for Chrome to get a moment like this. It's been a while since we've seen Chrome really get to do anything, and I think his biggest strength has always been that sheer determination in him.
Yeah, basically since he broke out of the prison, I think was the last time he really got to do much.
All right, let's talk about...
Also a cool 2-page spread to end the chapter. So
very much. Let's talk about the 7 Deadly Sins, chapter 294. Hope, conflict, and despair. So we start this chapter with the fully revived male, now with all of his memories and calm demeanor back, casting a spell on the corpses of Oslo and Derere. And Gauther's like, what is the spell? And Mel explains that it's an invitation to reincarnation, a spell that will enable their souls to be reborn just once with the memories of their past lives intact. And he says, if they in their new lives wish to punish me, then I will welcome it. And Gauther says the same. But then they're like, okay, we have to go to Camelot. Like, come with us. And he's like, what? Am I supposed to now destroy demons as a goddess? Like, why do I have to constantly be a part of this giant war of all these things? And Elizabeth comes up and says, I'm asking you to help us because we're going to end this war. This isn't going to be a victory for either the goddesses or the demons. We're putting an end to this. We don't get his answer is, but I would presume he's probably coming along. Instead, we cut over to Diane and King, who are sitting around talking about like, I guess we're just going to have to keep waiting. And King has this whole thing where he's like making a bunch of hand symbols and shit while he's going about. And, Diane's very worried because she's like, I hope that Escanor and Merlin and everyone else is all right. And he's like, I'm worried too. And he fucking throws on a big, giant, fucking fancy suit. And he's like,
with an ascot.
And he's like, and that's why we should hurry. And Diane's like, fuck. That got me right, boy.
I will say this. he does look a lot better while he's actually wearing clothes when he's got that haircut.
Oh, yeah.
Like the freaking pompadour with the bare chest is just like, geez, you look weird. But when it's like, okay, you got the whole look, so you look all fancy smancy. Yeah, okay, I'll take that. That's fine.
So they go and they see Diane or Elizabeth and Gowther coming. And Diane here is like, I knew Mail wouldn't come. And then they look back, and it's sort of strange positioning, but I guess they see Mail and are like, oh, he's coming too.
I don't know.
It's not super clear, but because they see feathers falling behind them, so I can only presume that's what that's meant to be. But you don't see where they are in, like, relation to Mail.
Right.
It's this weird thing where I'm like, is this a misdirect, or is this just sort of like weird geometry you're meant to follow? Anyway, we cut back to the big fight where, what were we calling him? Chusak?
Right.
Chusak is fighting against Escanar, and Escanar is unfortunately past his high noon. He's past his strongest point. So Chusak is just like, this is all you have to offer. And, Escanar is like, I can still throw suns at you. They're like, that doesn't actually really work that well. There's a lot of fighting going on, a lot of attacks being hit. Nobody's really seeming safe. Merlin doesn't seem to have anything she could do right now. And then eventually Chusak back kicks, like horse buck kicks Escanar. And as he's in the air, he's like, you're the first to go. And he stops. He's like, what is this? A tremendous energy approaches from afar. And King's spear just impales through the sky. And he's like, oh, shit.
Well, I actually love the way that this plays out, because there is a point where while they're conversing earlier, there's like, wait a minute, where's Chastaful? And then 5 pages later.
King and everyone is showing up, and King shouts, hold on, everyone, we're not going to lose any more teammates. And that's where the chapter ends. And we do see Mail down there, so I guess it really was just a weird kind of thing. He's in the bottom right corner there.
Yes. Nice little chapter. I do really love the moment where this giant spear comes out of nowhere in order to save Escanor. But there's also one or two little good character moments. I like that Mail is going to be like an actual character. It's not just that it was like, well, okay, he wrote who he was and he's going away now. He's done. That's that character arc over and done with. So
it's tough because as I'm reading this and I see that Chusak has become a giant centaur person, to not be reminded of that fight from the, I don't even know what you'd call it, the end part of the Chimera Ant arc, but it took 40 fucking chapters, and how fucking long and obnoxious that fight was, to just be like, I hope this isn't anything like that. And I think we're getting the clue that it's not going to, but fuck, man, it was sending me back into some spirals there for a bit.
It's already been a really long fight, so.
All
right. It's the Promised Neverland, chapter 117, Breaking into the Cage, part 2. So Emma and Anna need to find medicine, while Hayato and Rei distract the guards. Rei is like, why are you here? I can do this on my own. But Hayato's like, I've got to protect you, and we have to not get caught in order to protect them. So that's why we've got to keep them running around. And Rei's like, all right, fine. And then Anna and Emma find the medicine. They found it off screen.
It was very
Hooray!
Nice. Thank God for Anna.
We just cut back after Rei has shot a couple of demons in the head. They're like, all right, let's get out of here and escape. And then when we get back, Anna is still narrating, and she's like, good, we got all of the medicine we need.
There you go.
She is worried about Rei and Hayato. And Emma's like, it'll be all right. Rei will protect Hayato, and Rei will be safe because he won't die if he has someone to protect. Okay. So hang in there, Chris. We'll save you as soon as we get out through this manhole cover. there are 3 demons watching this particular manhole cover for some reason.
Like
any second now, they'll come out.
Jeff, I heard you say it was this one, right? Yeah, I think it's gonna be this one. All right, Steve. just focus on this manhole cover. Oh, they went down. Oh, David, we lost them.
Oh, damn it, Dave. You lost them. Oh, guys, I'm sorry. I don't know why we ever take you anywhere, Dave. You're fucking useless.
You're the worst demon, Dave. Short for Dave of the Bloodbath. I like baths! That's not the part of your name that's supposed to be intimidating.
So Emma tries to close up the cover and send Anna back so that they can get away. If one of the dudes just like, nope, grabs her and brings her out. And so they're like, okay, we should report into headquarters. Hang on a second. This human looks different. Hold still, human. And looks at her neck. Is like, she's got a number on her neck. And they all go, because she's high quality product, and they immediately start freaking out. They're like, I want to eat her. No, I want to eat her. No. And it looks like Emma's
Chipotle. Dave, you always suggest the Chipotle, all right? I'm tired of it. You're ruining the flavor for the rest of us.
God. So, oh no, for about a page, it looks like Emma's done for. And one of them drops her right towards his mouth. And then Baghead guy from that chapter a few chapters ago where they slaughtered everyone inside of the facility, he's back and he kills all of them with swords. And one of them's like, uh-oh, that guy looks like trouble. I better get away. And yeah, they're all dead now. Emma has been saved. The guy looks down at her, and now we can actually see that he's got a stuffed tiger just hanging out over on his neck. Okay.
It's Lunchback's face.
Yeah.
The greatest hero known to man.
Sure, why not? And so Emma is like, who the hell is this guy? Is he human? And for a second, guy's going to cut Emma's throat. But fortunately, at that very moment, Hayato teleports in front of her. Like, seriously. Like,
that
one moment he's
was
just
an inch from her throat, and he's in between them.
Yeah. So Hayato says, like, it's all right. She's one of us, and she saved our lives. And Ray comes up, and Anna comes up, and they're like, hey, you're safe. Yeah, I was scared. Anna's here. She was really useful. And
thank God we had Anna.
Yeah. Ray realizes, like, wait, this guy's with you? Is he part of Mr. Minerva's? Yes, this is Zazie, a confidant of the boss. Probably came to look for us because Jin and I took so long. Knew exactly where to find us, I guess. And Hayato says, Zazie's really strong, but it's hard to know what he's thinking, and he only obeys the boss. He's a rabid dog. Be careful. And Zazie's looking at a butterfly. Like a rabid dog.
Just like rabid dogs do.
Ooh. And then, so Emma's like, holy shit, that guy, I mean, he moved amazingly. He killed the demons with a sword and even cut through their masks. What's his story? It's really weird phrasing. And they're like, okay, you come with us, Zazie. And Zazie goes, and that's the end of the chapter.
Zazzy's fascinating, Nick. Can't wait to find out more about Zazie.
This felt very cheap, didn't it?
What do you mean? Like a 3-chapter, like, fucking detour to be like, Chris is going to die if we don't get him the medicine. And the only person who can get us the medicine is Anna. And we're going into a farm we've never been in before. And it's a strike team. And who knows how we got out. We're okay. Everybody's good.
It feels like they should not have even had to go to the facility if this was the entire point of everything, was just like, and now we're going to introduce you to one of those crazy assassin guys from the previous chapter where we saw Mr. Minerva's men. Like, maybe instead, like, Ray and Dawn should have just, saved Hayato and Jin, and then, like, on their way back, they were beset by a larger group of demons. And then Zazie killed those guys and saved them that way. That, like, this could have been accomplished in, the second half of that chapter where they met Jin and Hayato, basically.
It's this weird thing where you're like, I don't under like the Chris needs medicine subplot like went this way with just no dramatic tension in it of just like, no, we can't bring Zach with us because if something happens to us, like, we need Zach out here. So Anna is gonna step up to the plate and really deliver. And then they're like, "It's right here. Here's the medicine. It's right." Like, I mean, there could have been like a tense scene of them trying to like find the medicine, maybe with like a demon like searching for them in the medicine room or something like that, like something to like build up some drama or suspense. But they just found it.
The only thing I can think of is that something else is going to happen before Emma and Ray and Anna are reunited with the rest of their group. And so that's the reason why they were specifically split off, was not because something important happens at the facility, but because something important happens later. Like either they encounter something else along the way, or when they get to Mr. Minerva's headquarters, then, it's not as it seems. And so they've got to, find where their friends are being kept or something like that. Because if it's literally just like they get back with the rest of the group, then this was entirely a waste of time.
This is like on the level of like Team 7 and Team 8 together.
Yeah. Although, admittedly, this did not take nearly as long to end up being disappointing. So.
All right, so let's talk
Black Clover.
Black Clover, page 187, a battle in the space between heaven and earth. So, Asta has freed himself, Gray, Gordon, and Henry from, I can't remember her name, so I'm just going to call her Marie. Elf Marie. Ekra, whatever. And Gauche teleports Asta using a mirror beneath him. And he's like, shit, this trick again. But he is going to use his demon canceling sword to cancel the beams. But then one of the mirrors has Elf Marie in it. And he's like, I'm not looking. And Gauche is like, then how can you block a strike with your eyes shut? And he's like, I can do it using key. And you're like, all right, I forgot this.
God damn it. Asta's so broken.
He's like, then what about this? So he fires like,
pew, 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 pew.
And he's protected because Henry, basically the three of them use a combination spell to like propel one of the chambers of the Black Bull's headquarters up there to act as a shield itself and block everything. And Elf Gauche is like, that won't last long. But then Asta breaks out with the tornado and he's like, it lasts long enough. And he's in his Demon King form, which I always forget if that's supposed to be like dangerous or not. I guess he has full control over it. I've forgotten.
This form he has control over. The one where he turns entirely black and stuff, that was the one he lost control of.
Okay. So Asta dashes about, he's shattering all the mirrors. And he's looking like he's going to just fucking, I mean, I don't know. He's so fast. How would he do anything that wouldn't just kill Gauche? But whatever. He's about to knock him out, I guess. But Gauche is like, haha, you looked at me. And he reveals the mirror eye he has. And Marie's power is being transferred through it. So that's a pretty cool
trick, I think.
Yeah. Oh, I like it. And he realizes, like, shit, I'm not going to be able to undo the magic in time. And a giant mirror beam is going to destroy him when the three-person group flies up there using whatever disheveled remains of the Black Bull's headquarters that apparently still exists out there. Because it's been destroyed twice now. So they fly up using that. Gordon creates a giant shield with his poison. And then Gray turns the poison into mirrors, and they're like, ha, we did it. And that's really the chapter.
That's basically it. Henry says, like, I will save my friend Gauche no matter what happens to me.
And I was like, I guess you did meet him, but sure.
It's an odd way to end the chapter, but
it's interesting. It's one of those moments though where I was like, man, I guess I just never realized how the ability to turn magic into something else seems really broken.
Well, this way, Chris, they can use different elements of magic the way that no other mage can do.
Mm-hmm. That's that's really becoming like the fucking Sharingan of this series where you're just like, how many motherfuckers have this thing?
I thought the problem with the Sharingan was it could do literally anything.
Well, then when like Danzo had an arm of them, you were like, hold on.
Right.
Yes, that's the chapter.
Okay, One Piece, chapter 928. Introducing Komurasaki the Oiran. All right, so we get a couple of different scene changes in this. So first off, Luffy is still in the prison facility, just hacking away at stuff with the frickin' sledgehammer, and this old guy that he saved earlier from the hippo guy is like, oh, I'm so sorry for the way that you rescued me. And then some random guy says, lucky you don't have much long to live anyway. Okay, dick, whatever.
Uncalled for.
Yeah. Luffy's like, don't worry about it. Oh, by the way, here, have some of my food tickets. Like, aw, Luffy shared food. Raizo just comes up. He's got a disguise on, so he's disguised as one of the prisoners.
No one will know who I am with this disguise.
Well, he does go poof, but he then continues working as if he's a prisoner while he's just in his, regular ninja outfit, but with a sash tied around his face. So I got a key to those cuffs, but I found a key to those cuffs, but it's being closely watched. Not only is it in guard, but it's in a box of sea prism stone. Don't worry, I'll get the key for you, but it's gonna take me some time, okay? So, then Caribou shows up, and he's like, can I have a food ticket too? And Luffy's like, fuck you. Are you going to escape? Come with me, please. And Luffy's like, just go team up with Jaggy instead. He's like, no, I don't like him. He tried to mess with Big Mom and got his arm ripped off and had to run away according to the rumors. And Luffy's like, who cares about what rumors say? Good point. And then Kid shows up, and well, he doesn't just show up. He throws his pickaxe at him, and it digs into the wall right next to him. And he's like, I didn't try to go after Big Mom. All I did was wound one of her generals and take what I meant to take. I lost my arm here in a battle with the red hair pirates before all of that. Any other questions you need cleared up? I'm sure that there are. That
posed a couple questions, but hey,
yes.
that's for
why were you fighting with Shanks? He of course immediately gets into a little bickering match with Luffy because they want to argue over who gets to take down Kaido. And then we cut away as it's time for the Oiran Komurasaki to arrive, that incredibly beautiful woman who was drawing crowds in the previous chapter. And Usopp and Frankie and Sanji are there to watch things as well, while Robin is handling her, thing as a geisha. Some random guys show up with knives, however, in front of the procession to cause trouble. But a guy with a glaive defeats them immediately, just takes them all out without any trouble. An old man who is among them looks up at Komurasaki as she passes by, and we get a flashback. Now, I ain't saying she a gold digger, but she a gold digger. Basically, she uses her incredible, irresistible beauty to make men believe that she is falling in love with them, but she needs to be her free. She's a slave here. She has to have her freedom bought, and she can only do that by earning money. So this guy keeps on giving her money and giving her money and giving her money, and his family leaves him. He goes sick. He sells everything, his home, everything he gives up in order to keep on giving her money. He sells off his family. He sells off all the medicine that he needs, and now he's sick. And he's like, I can finally fulfill my goal of saving you, and then I'll be the happiest man in the world. He's like, oh, thank you. Here's my last 500 gold coins. And he goes to see her with chump chains, basically. and he's told at the gate that the Oiran is sick. And so there's a person who sees him at the gate and just says, I'll just have, it brought up to her. Okay, fine. Make sure she gets rest. And then he comes back later. He's like, oh, come and live with me. And everyone laughs at him because they're like, what are you talking about? Okay, that's not, yeah, please go get her. And Komurasaki comes out onto a balcony. The guy's name is Bingo, by the way. And yeah, I guess she hit the jackpot with him. And she says, you said that money was all for me, didn't you? So it's mine now. I spent it. Thanks. Bye. And yeah. So hooray. The guy also was, I guess, a follower of Kyoshiro, the guy with the weird hair that we've seen a few times. And he, of course, is heartbroken because he's given up everything for this woman who was just, using him in order to give him money. They beat him up in order to force him to leave because it's not enough that this has all happened to him. And then we finally get back to the present, and he's just a broken man crying as she doesn't even bother paying any attention to him. And also, she's on fucking stilt shoes. Yep. Yeah.
It's very sad, Nick. I know that he's not.
He didn't get his peanuts.
He didn't
Chris.
get any peanuts. He got really kind of nothing, unfortunately, which is a shame.
Pretty much. Basically, this whole point is to establish very, 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 very heavily that because the guy demands, like, I sold off everything. Give me back my money. Well, not that guy, but a bunch of other guys say that, I think. Because I think that guy is quiet. And there's another guy who's demanding his money back. And Komurasaki just says, like, what? Return what you gave to me? A request from only the lowest of the low. To me, a man is nothing more than a dog that fetches me riches. If you have none, you are nothing to me. I have only scorn for the poor man. And then their goons beat them up some more.
Sometimes that's just how it be, I guess.
And also they're banned from the city because they have nothing that they can't contribute to the economy. So they're like, yeah, get out of here. You're banned from the city. And then we cut away for one last brief scene as basically Momonosuke and Otama are talking for a bit. And because I do like that Otama is just like saying, like, hey, have you got a little sister, Momo? That is a rude form of address. You must address me by my proper title. What do you think my name is? Momo? Whatever. Fine. And he says that he thinks that he does have a sister because if she's alive, she'll be 26 years old. While some did witness my mother's death, no one has been able to tell me that Hiyori is dead. So I have faith that she is still alive somewhere. And Otama says, I hope you get to meet her. And Momonosuke says, no. If Hiyori's identity is known, Orochi will set his sights on her. I cannot go to find her until this battle is won. So, we got this detail about his 26-year-old sister during a chapter where a woman was given a lot of attention.
I don't see the connection, Nick. What are you?
No, me either.
What are you getting at, Nick?
I don't know. And also, I don't know why Robin is wearing those stilts, Chris. Like, what is she trying to pull?
Yeah, I mean, it's a chapter to give us more context to this entire thing, so we'll see how it goes.
I'm not sure if I can say that I actually enjoyed this chapter because it's just kind of unpleasant. Just, yeah, all these guys who were easily led astray by this woman's beauty, who were kind of shitty people to begin with, just gave away all their money to her because she was using them. Like, okay. Everyone looks awful in that situation.
Yeah, no, it's not a great situation. It's tough to really feel bad that he didn't get
his peanuts.
But he's also kind of not a great guy if he's selling off his family for it. But hey.
This is the thing, though, Chris. He could have gotten those peanuts at any time, but no, he just had to try and get that woman he could never get. She just gone to the store. You know, he had money.
He could have. But Nick, sometimes it's not about peanuts the physical. Sometimes about the spiritual peanuts we need to slow roast our soul.
A person is not peanuts, Chris. You can't buy someone's affection.
Nick, if wishes were fishes, there'd be no peanuts. Think about it. Really think about it. In fact, when you're going to bed tonight, like wake yourself up in the middle of the night and then start thinking about it. Because you want like that dream logic to be kicking in, and that's what you have to look for it to really start to add up. But yeah. I mean, we've never seen the Pope and peanuts together at the same time is kind of what I'm getting at.
What the fuck are you talking about?
Now it's becoming a conspiracy.
You gotta put on sunglasses. We must find the truth about the penis. We must crack this mystery. So
I'm gonna bring together the finest detective minds I know of. B.O.B. AJ Styles. I don't know, someone else who believes the earth is flat.
There's plenty of them.
And together, we're gonna solve the peanut conspiracy.
If airplanes in the night skies shooting stars, they don't want none. Something, something, something. Okay, that's the end of this manga this week. What was your favorite series and your favorite character this week?
I mean, I think it's probably going to be Food Wars. I can't think of a series that I really liked this week that was like super great, but I just enjoyed Food Wars having like a traditionally wacky Food Wars type chapter.
I guess I can understand that. Gosh, I don't really know myself. I can. I think I'm gonna go with the Seven Deadly Sins because it just had a nice mix of stuff in there. Some nice continuing some character moments, some funny bits, and also just giant spear. And also was one thing we didn't really get a whole lot, didn't pay a whole lot of attention to, but I really like the clash between Escanor and Centaur. When we first cut to that fight scene, them swinging their weapons at each other, it looks really cool. So just a lot of different stuff in that chapter that I enjoyed. MVP?
I guess I'm gonna give it to that fucking baby. I was so impressed by it. Karate chops and shirts and kicking open doors. That's an impressive baby. Like,
I like how you describe the unzipping motion that it made as a karate chop.
It really, like, if you look at it, it's like
yeah. I think I give mine to Higuma. I really like the introduction to how he works, and also the speech that he gives about demons and how he makes them repent for their crimes.
Yeah.
All right.
There we go.
That is going to do it for this final regular edition of Weekly Manga Recap of 2018. Thank you guys for joining us. We record the show not Wednesdays. Honestly, it doesn't matter what day I say currently, because it's very possible that by next week we'll be changing the day that we do it. It'll be either next week or the week after that we're going to change when we actually record the show. Right now, it's Thursdays at around 7:30 Eastern Time on smashcast.tv/Roloti and twitch.tv/Roloti. If you want updates on that stuff, make sure you follow us on Twitter at WMR Podcast, at Roloti, at Nick F. Time. And also check out our past episodes on weeklymangarecap.podbean.com, on YouTube, on iTunes. Subscribe, rate, comment, all that good stuff so that we can conquer the hobby section, defeat the woodworkers, all that. If you have feedback you want to send to us, questions you want to ask us for future Q&A episodes, suggestions for future manga you want us to take as a recommendation, you can send that stuff via email to weeklymangarecap@yahoo.com. You can also check out our Discord server. There is an entire chat dedicated to making recommendations for us. And yeah, special thanks go out to our Patreon supporters. Your support allows us great, fun bonus stuff for you guys to enjoy. Last night we recorded a commentary on the Neo Yokio Pink Christmas special episode. I went a little insane while we were doing it. So check that out when it goes up. And of course, we want to also thank Steve Maritakarst. You can check out his artwork in a number of different places, just not Tumblr. And Infamous Planet for the stuff that you do to help us out.
Yeah, indeed.
That's it.
Is that
Yes.
it? All right. Well, so this is going to be the last episode of 2018.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's only fair that we send 2018 off in a majestic fashion. Nick, do you have any parting words for this year, the year of our Lord, 2018?
I don't know if it's the year of my Lord, but...
All right. Well, how about some best wishes into 2019?
Please be better. Like,
I would like to see white fudge Oreos become an all year round thing. Like right now they're a very seasonal thing. And to be honest, they come out in November. They don't even last till December. Stores stop carrying them. I think they should be an all year round thing. And also, okay, that was maybe a little bit greedy of me, maybe a little bit selfish.
a little bit small-minded, some might say.
Yeah. So I think my other big hope for 2019 is maybe Burger King can start selling their buffalo sauce in stores, so I don't have to go to Burger King itself to get them. I can just pick up a bottle.
I mean, that's definitely a more noble goal than the other one.
Thank you. So that's my goals. 2019, everybody.
Here we come.